Good evening. Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. In the past decade, the number of clinical trials on drugs and therapies in Hong Kong has increased exponentially. Phase 1 of these trials involved both sick and healthy people. Producer Billy Wong looks at why volunteers with no health problems would risk exposure to side effects and how these trials are helping to advance the search for medical cures.
Ivan Siu is a nurse at Sha Tin Hospital. On this day, the 45-year-old took time off to visit Queen Mary Hospital.
Today
I come mainly to try out a new drug and see its impacts on a healthy Chinese body.
The trial is at the Phase 1 Clinical Trial Center run by the Hong Kong University. It needed 32 volunteers who are healthy.
Because they do not have other diseases and also are not on other medications, when they are given the medication, the actions, the effects, the absorption will be more uniform. So this would help us to get a better idea of how the medication works.
In this case, the medication is a drug to fight the hepatitis C virus, which attacks the liver.
This drug has been evaluated in other countries, but mostly in Caucasian populations, so that we would like to recruit our local population to test on these drugs to see whether it would be safe to use.
Besides being Chinese, the volunteers had to be between 18 and 45 years old.
They have really stringent requirements on a Chinese person's BMI, age, weight, and smoking habits.
Such as a body mass index below 25 and no smokers.
Initially, my colleagues asked me to join this trial together, so I gave it a try out of curiosity. It's not easy to find the time. I work shifts. In the end, I swapped with colleagues to make time.
On the first day of the trial, Ivan took 50 milligrams of the drug. He had blood samples taken regularly in the next 10 days. Then he took 100 milligrams, another 10 days of blood sampling, then 200 milligrams.
The dose is increased gradually, and they promised to monitor my health conditions. They also promised it'd be safe.
It is a Phase 1 trial. We are not looking at efficacy of the drug, but rather we want to focus on the tolerability and also the safety of the drugs. We usually include healthy volunteers unless the drug is particularly toxic.
A drug undergoes 3 phases before going on sale. Phase 1 establishes a safe dose range and uses both sick and healthy people. Phase 2 and 3 involve only patients, hundreds and thousands of them, to test the efficacy. Computer engineer Derek Nye learned about the hepatitis C drug trial from friends and did a lot of research before joining the trial.
There are detailed reports on the drug and its effect. Thousands of people tried it overseas. I think basically everyone worries the most about the side effects and complications. I see the figures are very low, so I feel safe.
Some of our healthy volunteers say that if they can help in development of new medications, new technologies, and efforts to promote health within the community, they would like to contribute.
It's like blood donation. I don't feel I'm particularly great. Instead, being able to join this program proves I'm healthy. So I feel better.
We do pay them, of course, for their time and also travel. But I do not think that this will be a major incentive.
Healthy volunteers are paid around $100 per hour, A day's procedures can take at least 5 hours.
That's not important. My initial thoughts were that I could meet many new people. I keep in touch with other volunteers and have a good relationship with staff in the center.
The main driver is curiosity. I learned new things and experienced something rare. Now I know what a drug trial is.
Dr. Cheung says the new drug could eradicate the hepatitis C infection.
It is a very strong inhibitor. Once you use the drugs simply, the virus will not replicate. It will go in for the normal life cycle. It will be dead. Previous existing treatment tried to stimulate our immune system to fight against the virus. But once this virus got into your body, it is very wise and it may not elicit a very effective immune system to fight against the virus, and that's why it can cause chronic infection.
Dr. Cheung closely monitors the health of volunteers.
So far, we have not observed any serious adverse events occur in healthy volunteers. Having said that, some of the healthy volunteers may experience minor complaints such as dizziness, tummy pain, etc.
Trying it, there was no side effect. Nothing special.
Nothing. As far as I know, other volunteers had no side effects either.
Hong Kong University's Clinical Trial Centre was established in 1998. Over the past 10 years, the cumulative number of its clinical trials has increased fourfold to around 1,000. Both pharmaceutical companies and medical investigators, like doctors and professors, can initiate these studies.
Say, for example, this trial was submitted
Hong Kong University professor Yu Long Lau is a leading expert in pediatrics. 11 years ago, he led a trial for a vaccine against a very common disease among babies.
That vaccine, in fact, is actually help to prevent children from getting serious rotavirus infection. That is a diarrheal disease. That means the baby will have a lot of loose stools, a lot of trouble. We are part of a multi-center, multinational type of study, and our center recruited 2,000 babies.
10-year-old Lambert Sheck is one of those babies. He was born at Queen Mary Hospital in 2004. His parents agreed to the vaccine trial.
It's useful. He hasn't really had problems with diarrhea over the years.
If he didn't get vaccinated and happened to catch the virus, there would be serious diarrhea, nausea, high fever, even resulting in hospitalization.
It's very important to understand the vaccine and whether it has any side effect for the child. After all, it had been used abroad before being introduced to Hong Kong. It shouldn't be a problem.
It's a risk as well as a benefit. If the vaccine can prevent a serious infection, then that would be the benefit. And then the risk, obviously, is the vaccine might cause some fever, some local sight redness and pain.
Mrs. Sheck says baby Lambert did not experience any side effect.
All good, very healthy, and that's expected.
10 years on, the rotavirus vaccine is commonly used for newborn babies. And Professor Lau has gone on to other clinical trials, often drawing on his previous pool of participants.
The families, because of the good experience, they're actually willing to say, yes, I have another baby just born, or I've got a friend who's actually willing to participate in your current vaccine study.
The Sheck's daughter, Tara, now 15, was invited to a vaccine trial 3 years ago.
We felt our son's experience with the rotavirus vaccine trial at Queen Mary Hospital was very good, so we also let my daughter take part in the HPV virus vaccine trial.
The vaccine helps prevent cervical cancer in women and is now available in most hospitals and clinics. But Tara was initially wary.
Because I thought a trial can fail, so it might not be so good.
This vaccine can prevent her from getting infected. Maybe my daughter wasn't clear about the situation, so she was worried initially. I persuaded her for a long time before she believed in us.
Professor Lau stressed the importance of clinical trials.
Without this process, there will be new drugs, no new vaccines to fight new disease or old disease that are not well treated. There will be no new vaccines to help to prevent like MERS, like SARS, like avian flu.
Coming up next,
they saved my life and prolonged my life.
We talk to cancer patients who are taking part in clinical trials. How do they benefit from a new drug? Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Pearl Report. More and more researchers and pharmaceutical companies are conducting clinical trials of medical procedures and drugs in Hong Kong. Producer Billy Wong talks to cancer patients volunteering for these trials about their safety and benefits.
Teresa Ng exercises daily near her flat in Aberdeen. The 68-year-old has been living with diabetes for over 20 years.
For the diabetes, you cannot save too many food inside your body. So the best way for you to loosen your diabetes is to walk, a fast walk, half hour. You will feel very energetic each day.
Teresa is dealing with a lot more than diabetes. 8 years ago, she was diagnosed with liver cancer. It runs in the family. Both her father and brother died of the disease.
Don't be too worried all the time. Always think positive. When you're in a good point of view or in the manner of happiness, you will solve the problem right away.
In 2008, Teresa had surgery in Australia to remove the primary tumour in her liver. But it grew back, and the cancer spread throughout her liver to her lungs. Returning to Hong Kong, she's getting chemotherapy at Queen Mary Hospital. But it's not working.
A little bit side effect. The hair no more, and the vomit sometimes, and the poo-poo all the time.
She refused her doctor's suggestion to start on a new course of drugs or target therapy.
But I know that one target therapy is very expensive. I told them I have no money anymore, and I don't want to suffer any pain from the target therapy.
Last year, oncologist Dr. Joanne Chu and her study team asked Teresa to join their trial at the Phase 1 Clinical Trial Center for a new drug to treat cancer. At first, she was afraid she would simply be a guinea pig.
But after a long, deep consideration, I found out if this new type of medicine is no longer useful for my body, maybe next new medicine can.
She's very open about joining a trial. We explained to her there's some basic profile about the toxicity of these drugs. We cannot guarantee it will work for her, but we're willing to try if she's willing to give us a chance.
For her chemotherapy, Teresa was being given chemical substances in drugs or injection to kill cancer cells, but chemotherapy can also damage healthy cells. In a clinical trial, Teresa is given drugs known as PD-1 antagonist.
This is a new class of medications, which is what we call immunotherapy. I realized that it was initially found to be useful in melanoma. Now it's being the use is being explored in all kinds of cancers.
In immunotherapy, the drugs are geared to strengthen the body's natural defenses so that the immune system can detect and destroy cancer cells precisely.
A lot of people with her disease have received this treatment. Because the rapport we established with her before, she actually trusted us very well and let us go ahead.
Teresa comes to the center every 2 weeks for her treatment. First, a body check that includes taking blood samples to determine if she is in a sound condition to receive the immunotherapy medication. Then she is given a vaccination of the drug. The whole trial takes 96 weeks. Teresa is halfway through.
Gladly, she didn't develop a major side effect, and actually the tumor decreased in the size.
So far, so good, thank God, touch wood. not much side effect. I can eat, I can walk, and do the normal people do. I thank all the doctor and the medical group doing for me. They just what I say, they save my life and prolong my life.
After the trial finishes at the end of this year, Dr. Chiu will assess Teresa's health and advise on follow-up treatment if needed.
Before enlisting patients into clinical trials, doctors must explain clearly the risks and benefits of the drugs and make sure that patients make informed and voluntary decisions to take part in the studies.
Yang Chun-fong has advanced stage liver cancer, with the tumor spreading from liver to lungs. The 41-year-old was just invited to the same immunotherapy trial as Teresa.
I had part of my liver removed, did minimally invasive therapies, and everything else that could be done. The results were not good. That's usually the reason for being here. When I returned for follow-up treatment, they found I was suitable to test this drug. No need to spend more money.
你好，我係趙醫生嚇。咁咧就多謝你參加我哋嘅研究先。不如就講
Let's first talk about the benefits and the notable points in joining the study. There is no standard treatment after your tumor has been treated with the first line of drugs. We hope to study new meds to allow more options for patients.
The rights of participants in research studies at University of Hong Kong are safeguarded by an independent ethics committee chaired by Professor Sidney Tang.
The study participants are also the patients of the doctor. We do not want these patients to be sort of intimidated and therefore would agree to whatever the doctor asks him or her to do.
She really did her job well and cared for the patients. This makes everyone relaxed and happy.
If you have any problem or don't want to participate, you can stop voluntarily as long as you let us know.
It has to do with fairness. They right to withdraw from the trials in any time to make sure that their reasonable treatments would not be jeopardized.
2 copies of the consent form. Hope you take them home to read carefully. Think carefully before you sign.
Yang signed up and will start the drug trial after a body check.
We totally understand what the doctor says. We all hope the drug can cure and control the cancer. I experienced all sorts of side effects before. Some side effects are unavoidable. I shouldn't worry if I'm mentally prepared.
I have actually seen some studies that went really wrong, and we have to conduct special meetings to look into the details of the studies. Actually, we have retracted the approval of some of these studies.
What went wrong in that case?
Well, it's very hard for me to pinpoint what went wrong in an individual study.
The ethics committee also vets clinical research applications from doctors.
The important questions are whether or not there would be any perceived harm to the subjects, whether or not the patients or the study participants would be given enough time to give a consent.
They have their reputation at stake because in open society, none of this could be covered up for long, for any period of time. So anything major inevitably will come to the public's attention.
The Food and Health Bureau has given $40 million to each of the medical schools in Hong Kong University and Chinese University to run their clinical trial centers. It's also helping to strengthen the sector.
We are applying for accreditation with the China Food and Drug Administration. After the 2 clinical trial centers in Hong Kong get the accreditation from the CFDA, then certificates pharmaceutical companies get from our clinical trial center would allow them to also market the drugs in China.
The Hong Kong Association of the Pharmaceutical Industry says currently it takes 3 to 4 years to get drugs registered for sale in mainland China, but only 12 months on average in Hong Kong.
What we would like to is the Hong Kong clinical trial outcome could be well recognized in China automatically.
We had experience of, inspection visits from regulatory authorities, both in China and also overseas. Quality and safety are two of the most important attributes inspectors are looking for. And I think in that regard, we are putting our money in the right place. We have not compromised on quality in cutting costs, for instance.
We have a long history of doing phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. We also have a very stringent ethical review system in terms of looking at each and every trial and sort of screening whether the said research is ethical and safe.
When we want to carry out clinical trials, sometimes we have difficulties to identify who will be available for the clinical trial because a lot of doctors may be preoccupied with their daily operations.
It is a challenge, obviously, to do our normal workload and also to prepare for the accreditation visit. We're used to it, but I believe we can do it.
Well, thank you for watching our show. It will be re-aired on Monday and Saturday, as well as on tvb.com. Until next time, from the Pearl Report team, good night, good luck, and good health.